Battlefield 2042 unfortunately did not launch in an adequate state.
Battlefield 2042 has ambition in spades.
Absolute disaster.
Not the best of launches. I am Couch Coop and we're going to be looking at Battlefield 2042. I want to go into how much I love the series. The first future edition that came out, Battlefield 2142, back in 2006 was just massive. Hardline what the actual. Battlefield 1 was okay. Those two sort of amalgamated. 5 came in. They're quite hard to distinguish in hindsight. I own them both. And now we've got 2042. Look at that at the bottom there. It's a freaking mobile game on there. But my point being, I loved Bad Company 1. I thought it was amazing. I remember at the time that we also had Airborne. Medal of Honor came out. Like, first-person competitive online shooters had a very strange sweet spot, and Bad Company was at the front end of that.
Caught between the last two superpowers as they circle each other, fighting for resources, threatening to draw us into a new kind of war.
I don't think global affairs were in their current state when they put that story together. I think they might have reworded some of that. Back to that Wikipedia page and some of the magic that I felt with the original 2142 and Bad Company. Has any of that been recaptured? Has a year been long enough? And I am a completely fresh pair of eyes on this. Recently came on Game Pass, hung back for about a week because my internet was barely able to download the damn thing in one fell swoop. But now I'm in and I'm having a great time, but I want to break down why. Some of this is my early footage of me initially rocking up to a situation, and as with all Frost Engine games and the latter Battlefield games, I've just been amazed at how well they push really modern effects, explosions, cinders, there's beautiful depths of field now outside the scope, the tanks rock back and forth with identical motion to the real thing. Is absolutely mind-blowing. Every time I just wander in, gob open, get shot through the forehead, but it's worth it first seeing it. Interiors as well. I niggled a helicopter that spotted me doing this, and just the clatter that goes on. And that's a point I think is very important to make. The Frostbite engine and DICE and EA, maybe not EA, but I've always been on the side of them compared to Activision and the Call of Duty series. The main reason for that is destructible mechanics and dissipation on environments. You just didn't see it very much in early Call of Duty games, and these guys went well ahead of the market with that Frostbite engine and did some amazing things with the early Battlefield games. They also brought vehicles like land, sea and air well early on in the whole military first-person shooter environment. Just want to add, whilst we've got it on screen, from someone who's lived in the Middle East for 7 years, they've got that bang on. That's sand on top of those cars, even the street bollards. I was well settled in. This is why I sort of sat back, head in hands, as I saw the launch of 2042 roll out on a beta level. The big name reviewers got hold of it early doors, and that's what all that is at the start of this video. It's not actually their full reviews. They slated the shit out of it. The damn thing got raked over the coals, and I just thought I'm going to stand back because I cannot see one of my favourite military first-person shooter franchises just get the shit kicked out of it by the media. But basically that's what happened. But we're back, and I'll tell you this now, I'm having an absolute ball with it. I am back in that excitement zone that we had when I played the original Future Hardware games. There's not really enough of that spaceship stuff going on as far as I'm concerned because of the lack of distance between the times. We're literally looking 20 years ahead. That angle's quite cool. It's quite feasible with a lot of the changes they've made to the guns and vehicles, especially the modern look to the tanks and jets. Holy shit, this game is pretty. Not a lot of the big names spoke about the dynamic weather aspect. There's a damn great cyclone that appears on map. Doesn't do massive speeds around the areas, you can just play and get away with it, but when you're on the edge of it, some of the particles that fly by, combined with a sandstorm maybe, it's like Just Cause 4, but you're in a first person shooter and there's 64 other people having a whale of a time in the map with you. Now you might be thinking, oh god, he's on one of his gushes. No, I did have some problems and I do want to talk about them. Look on the bottom right hand side, that's my specials that haven't loaded in yet, and I knew something was up. Some servers are weird. This guy gets killed, his mate who knows I'm here is coming around the corner. I would normally be able to get a headshot with a pistol. Not even there, not even appearing. And you also get a lot of people who have dropped out of game or died, and they scare the absolute crap out of you, but they're not actually there, they're just like statues. I want to talk about that squad system and those green names that run down the left hand side of the screen near the map. Now they are randomly chosen with me, and you can spawn in next to your squad members. It's really important. It very much helps with doing a push on a location, and you can revive each other, and if you all stick together you get all manner of perks. You can start clocking stuff for people, and the game likes that. It rewards you for loads of that behaviour. The subject of rewards, DICE put in this system that I quite liked in the Battlefield 1 and 5 games, and it's like a perk system on a weapon that if you keep using it you get to strap more stuff onto it, a bit like Skyrim with the weapons. It's cool because it gives you incentive to sort of go further down an avenue. At the same time it kind of stops you experimenting because you're quite committed to a particular class or system. Some games offer you like a really good random piece of loot that will force you to start using another weapon because the thing's too cool to ignore, but with this you can really drill into some specialist builds. And the render of the guns, I know I make too much fuss about this. It's an easy thing to do in game design, but just the fact they do it. I've just done the Dark Tide video, and all of those 40k amazing weaponry designs are in there for me to lust over. Oh, I love this bit of footage. Still get all the really cool assists, vehicle assist, and because it was a squad mate that was with me and he got the kill, it was split up on the points level, and he gets the revive from me, so there's so much to do and learn with that setup. I very much enjoy it. Let's talk about its graphics, because there's a bit of a point coming up. I am running it at 1080 and we are looking at 60 frames per second, and I'll say hand on heart, fully pegged, never saw a major dip unless it was a server issue. I would always keep my eye up on the numbers to see when performance went really crazy. I'm not running it at high settings and I'm a little bit devastated. When you play first person shooters in 60 frames per second you cannot go back. I'm on an RTX 1660 and it feels fine.
Hostiles are controlling this battle. They have more sectors.
Have I seen any glitching of walls, people hanging out of furniture in game? Nothing. Nothing has looked out of place. And also I want to mention the map rotation. I'm still getting maps I haven't seen or I've only played once come into the didn't spot that tank. The footage just really distracts me. I love watching the footage. Some of these other players really should have killed me here. I do just briefly want to touch on class because I've drilled down so deeply to the standard assault dude. I've got the dog coming out and that is just amazing. Seeing the Boston Dynamics come to fruition in a goddamn Battlefield game never gets boring, and I cannot wait to explore the tech on the other build trees because there is a lot of support and there is a lot of medic need within this game. If you've got a squad and everybody's got their own cool direction with that sort of build, you're going to clear up. DICE and the Battlefield series always touched on vehicular combat, both being in a vehicle and getting stuff within it, or having the threat of a vehicle in a vicinity, or going after vehicles, which is one of my favourite things in the whole damn game. Also a great example of why newcomers cannot stand this series. I get Hans Gruber there, 380 meters, one shot as well. He probably was watching that whole situation unfold and just chose his moment. Hope you're happy.
Tango! 250! 200 meters away! We can't take much more!
It was Call of Duty 5 that first introduced tanks. I remember it well. There were Second World War tanks and it did add an added angle to the game, but nothing really does it as good as DICE in the Battlefield series. One of the poshest kills here, nice little door opening animation, boff in the head. Now I realise that something is coming, I can hear it, but I don't know what it's going to be. I have a little spot, I get a glimpse of it down that alleyway and I know it's got a gun on it that can get through this Nissan hut. Stuff like that, the urgency, the fact that you know what hardware is going to do to where you're sitting. It doesn't get boring working out how to get the best of a situation or trying to just get out of a situation.
Throw a grenade! One down!
Am I getting that Battlefield magic with this game? Yeah, I totally am. Not 2142, but certainly head and shoulders above Hardline or anything, even 1 and 5. I much prefer the modern canon with this, and the hardware they've pumped in and some of the maps. They steal the show. The maps are incredible, and you need this on high settings. 10th generation systems. I'll totally get it hard copy on the PlayStation 5, so expect that on the line. I have reviewed 1 and 5 extensively. I even did a Christopher Nolan Dunkirk mashup with Battlefield 1's intro. I'll put a link in the description if you can be asked. I have been Gouch Q. I will see you down there.
Tango, on my mark! 300 degrees! 70 meters! What are the hostile?
Sector Alpha under control. Allied forces are attacking Bravo 2.